people, I don't know, you know, they say that I'm the nicest investigative reporter because people will talk to me, even like people that I'm going to, you know, try to confront because they haven't, you know, picked up the phone. But be yourself. I'm not a mean person, so I can't, you know, I'm not going to play a bad cop because I couldn't pull it off. Just go out there, be yourself, and people will talk to you. They will.
Well, I want to dive, Myriam, now in a different area. I want to go to social media. And talking about social media, one of the things that normally I get in classes is, how do I work with my social media channels, you name it, whatever it is. Who takes care of your social media branding? Is it you? Is it somebody else? How does this work on your end?
So you do, because you know what your brand is. And I mean, you can get help from, you know, I obviously get help from our promotion department, and, you know, the stuff that you see on TV, the promos that they do for us, or obviously, you know, I don't do that, but I'm the one who's putting on social media the message that I want to relay. So I'm not going to put on social media, you know, the image of a frat girl, you know, like having fun or everything, because that's not the image that I want. If you want to be a sportscaster, I want to see stuff on your social that has to do with sports, how you know, how excited you are because you're at, you know, whatever game and so's playing. I have no idea about sports and traffic for me. I don't even know how I did traffic. But anyway, that's the importance of being there. The other thing is obviously, you know, exchange with people. Take advantage. Somebody writes you, you know, write them back. I know it's hard. You can't write everybody back, but, you know, try to engage. And branding is so important. Be careful what you put on there. You know how, you know, I tell everybody that, and, you know, everybody here is an adult, so they know, you know, I'm an investigative reporter. So even if you took it out, I'll find it. And so will many people. And it's so important to be careful what you put on there, you know, because that's it. I mean, and people say, oh, well, that's my private account. There's no such thing as private account when you're a public person. You know, when you represent a company, whether whether you're on your private Instagram account or your public Instagram account, you're a reporter. I remember when I was, you know, I got to tell you, I've had moments where I want to tell people off, and I'm like, I'm holding this Telemundo mic. It's probably not a good idea to say something, even though they were nasty. Your image, you have to control it. And brand yourself like you want, you know, for the job that you want. For many years, I was very cautious on social media because of my investigations, because we can't promote things without the response of the other side. So promotions is a little delicate. When we started doing Comida Como Cura, which is the documentary that we launched, the first one this year, I was able to be a little bit more open, and I was able to share my passion for planting, you know, veggies, and because I was shifting my brand to include that side of me. Before I was like, how am I going to put, I'm coming down on bad people, and I'm going to put me planting a pepper, you know? So you have to brand yourself for what you're going for. And right now I'm loving it. I'm like, I can't believe I can talk about all this, but it's part of my brand. So it is important that you control your brand, because nobody's going to, you know, you can get help. I mean, I get help. I have somebody who will get all the calls for me, all the emails for me, because I can't do all that. We get hundreds. I remember when I was young, I would get frustrated because there was no way I could call everybody back. And now I know I can't. Possible. That would be a full-time job. And we actually have a full-time person for that, because it's hundreds of people and it's just me. I wouldn't be able to work. But, you know, at the end of the day, the message has to come from you. So if you're getting, you know, if you're getting all this, you know, talk about, you know, you put out the message, you control the message. I've had people, because, you know, I'm talking about plant-based, you know, people will go on there like, oh, meat is important. And you could leave that. And what happens is, if you leave that, it'll go and it'll spiral. And if you know social media, if you don't address something, it'll spiral. With respect, you can redirect that conversation back to, you know, where I've had people who come back at me and they're like, oh, you're absolutely right. Or, you know, thank you so much. I can't believe you wrote me back. So you have to control your brand and control your responses, because if not, they will spiral out. It's kind of like crisis management. You know, the companies do, like, you know, something terrible happened in a company, they'll bring in the crisis management team. You're your own crisis management. You have to control your brand and bring it back to what it is. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, which now I wasn't that active on Instagram before. I was more on Facebook because that's where our viewers are. But I'm starting to be more active on Instagram because of this new brand. And, if you look at it, you're going to see I'm a mom, I have plans, I'm a sister, that's my brand. And I care about this community because I'll put my investigations on there. So that's important. I think you have to control your brand.
I think that I want to circle back a little bit with the content thing that we were discussing moments ago. And one of the things that I noticed that you were talking about is, the things that you say, stay there because it's social media. But it comes also to my attention the fact that normally we have a microphone and we have a responsibility with the microphone. Other than the things we say, is there something that we should consider every time that we are addressing an audience in terms of the content we are giving them? Because content, if not used properly, can and will affect people. And probably we won't know about this immediately, but it can get back to us or backfire at any time. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you have to put your signature on everything, even the sound that you put on the air, even if somebody else says it. At the end of the day, that's your reporting. So you always have to attribute everything that you have. And you have to think, if that person saw it on TV, what would they think? Would they think that you are being fair? And fair is very important. And I'll tell you why. I've had, alleged bad people who have scammed somebody else, who have come down later after I put that story on the air and called me to tell me about another story because I treated them fair. Yes, they messed up, but I was fair. And I think that that's what's very important for journalists, especially if you're going to be in this industry, that you think about what you're putting on and whether you were fair, because it's very easy to pile on, and that's not what we are. We're not, we don't pile on. We're not social media influencers. We are, it's not like a mob mentality. Oh, these people are horrible. No, it's, I am one of those reporters that will hound you to get your side. I mean, if you see me going out with a mic to catch somebody, those people ignored my emails, my phone calls, my my WhatsApp messages, because I'm notorious for WhatsApp. I'm like, oh, I know you're on WhatsApp because it says that you're on there. So, so if you see me chasing somebody down, that's because I've tried every way to get their side. Just the other day, there was some packages that were abandoned at somebody's warehouse, and that person was related to the person who abandoned them. And I was trying to get, for that person to talk to me, and she yelled at me, and her husband yelled at me, and everybody yelled at me. And I said, I understand you're upset, but here's the issue. Your brother who abandoned these things is not talking to us. You have these packages and you have an opportunity to make things right. And by the end of the day, because she saw I was being fair, she let me in. We got video of the packages. She agreed to let anybody come and pick them up. And I was fair. And if you watch that reporting, you're like, but that's the sister of the guy, but she didn't do anything wrong. She just got the packages dumped on her. So I think if people realize that you're being fair and not out to catch them, you're not going to have issues with your reporting. Fair is important. Showing somebody's business is going to impact them. So think about before you show somebody's brand. Say, you're shooting at this business, Edgar, you didn't do something right, but behind Edgar is McDonald's. And we're talking about Edgar being a horrible person, which you're not, by the way. Mm-hmm. But we're showing McDonald's, and McDonald's were like, hey, you put us in bad light. That's not right. So you have to think about the impact of everything that you put on, not just, the subject, but everything around it, the information that's on there, and what that person is saying. I check all my sources. Say somebody, is telling you something. I always ask them, well, what would they say about you? Why are you telling me this? Did you get fired? So you're responsible for everything you put on, including other people's sound. And that for me has kept me out of trouble. Where's some wood here?